guys, Darkdeath5000 here again. So, those of you that have been watching my live streams will know I've been playing the ME262 recently. I've been trying to get some good footage, but it's been pretty rough really. Most of the time I've been climbing up to the altitude and the entire German team would be just down low. And, well, you know, that spells disaster for the Messerschmitt 262. It's already outclassed by all the other jets, and virtually all the other props will accelerate faster, so yeah, going down low is never a good idea in the Messerschmitt 262. Not to mention the 30mm cannons on this thing are just an absolute pain to aim. Half the time I'm just not compensating enough lead. And then there's the games where you encounter the super jets, so yeah. I just needed a break from the 262. Which led me to flying this little gem here, so P38 J-15. This particular one that I'm flying is the Richard Bong's P38 J-15. I got this from the Chronicle event in 2016. Well, it's basically the same as a P38 J-15, so it sits here in the tech tree. Yep. So this has got the single 20mm cannon and the 4 machine guns, so 12.7 Browning machine guns up front. So it's got some pretty good killing power there. It's also got the twin engines, so this plane is extremely fast, and at this battle rating, so 4.3, there's not a whole lot that can catch you. And if you get to 5,000 plus meters in this thing, you know, nothing is going to be able to max your engine power up that high. Personally, I like to think of it as a P51 with slightly less straight line performance. But, you know, it's got more dogfighting capability. This thing can turn surprisingly well. Bear in mind the flaps on this don't rip until about 500 kilometers per hour. So you can keep out the flaps a lot longer in this plane, whereas most other planes will rip around about 250. So there's that to it. So yeah, it's a nice plane. Okay, so here we are in the battle. We're playing on Normandy, playing the Russians here. So I took 30 minutes fuel just because I wanted the extra weights there for the boom and run performance. So we're just going to take off here and we're going to climb to roughly 5,000 meters. Bear in mind I'm climbing at around 240 kilometers per hour. I did check up on the optimal climb speed and apparently it's 280, so I'm going a fair bit slower than I should here. But yeah, I still end up being higher than everyone. So I'm just going to climb to roughly 5,000 meters and I'll bring you back in a second. Alright, so we're roughly at 5,000 meters here. I'm just going to start heading over to where all the enemies are there. Trying to pick up a bit of speed while I head over there because I was going a little bit slow. So again, this plane is extremely fast if you level out. Especially at this height, it's going to just have brilliant engine performance. And nothing that I can think of is going to be able to match that up here. So I'm not too worried about anybody being up here. So I'm just trying to pick a target at the moment. I'm thinking about the LA7 because he looks like the highest, and I see these guys at the left side. So I'm a bit undecided of who to go for at this point. Don't want to drop down too soon because you never know who's still up there. You don't want to give up all your altitude at the beginning. Especially playing on a controller, you don't have the reaction time, I guess. So you have to play it a bit more cautiously than you would say on PC with a mouse. So I've just seen those guys fly down there and I'm thinking about going after them. I see a dot in the distance there as well below. So I see the Yak-3 there, and he is pretty much the highest enemy plane that I can see. So I head his way, he turns away and I don't follow him. So I'll just keep going forward, I don't follow him in the dive. I'm thinking about following him here, and then I see the I-185, so obviously he's higher, he's the priority. Now if I realised he was completely oblivious, I would have tried to get him, but yeah, I don't usually go for head-ons like this, so I realised too late, and I didn't quite manage to get him. So I missed out on an easy kill there. I'm just trying to chase him down there. I did a little pitch down to pick up some speed. I almost follow him in that, but I decide not to do. But just look at the speed of this plane, it's at 600 already in that shallow dive I just did. So he's gone down, so I know that the entire team now is down low. So it's pretty much it's safe to give up the altitude at this point. So again, I'm just looking at targets and who to go for. I always try and pick somebody that's busy and preoccupied. So this Yak 3, I just seen him do a sharp turn, so I know he was slow, but I make the mistake of misjudging my own speed. So I ripped the flaps off there, unfortunately. So yeah, this plane, it just picks up speed like, oh, I don't know. I don't know where that even came from. Anyway, you know, flaps aren't that important at this point. We are fighting the Russians after all. So we go for this LA5 who's target fixated. I managed to take him out. Somehow he managed to shoot my engine there when he was dead, so yeah. I'm not too happy with that. So we have a fuel leak and an oil leak. I was thinking about heading back at this point, but I decide there's that many enemies, you know, I really need to help out here and do my part for the team, so I'll stick around for a bit. Thinking about going down there, and then I see the Yak in front, so I switched to him instead. So the Yak 3. There was actually quite a few PS4 players in this as well that was quite good at flying, really. So I was happy to see that. So we've got Dolly there, who I was thinking he might try and prop hang, but he doesn't. This guy turned out to be very good later on, actually. So I just seen a bunch of my guys get taken out. Really their own fault, because you know they're down low with Russians, which is not a good idea. Remember, Russian planes, they perform best at low altitude, and they really pick up speed down there. Whereas the American engines, they don't perform very well. So we see the LA5 behind us there. I know those things are fast in a straight line, but we're almost at 2,500, which I believe they start to lose some performance. So I'm pretty sure I can lose him here, and I'm going into a shallow zoom climb. I'm just using the left stick here as well. I've not used any max inputs. The thing with American planes is they're more of, like I said at the beginning, they're boom and run planes, so it's not boom and zoom where you climb, dive and then climb again. For the majority of American planes, instead you boom, you know, you zoom in on them from a great height, and then you go straight, you don't climb. And then when you gain some distance, you can go into a very shallow zoom climb. So it's a different strategy than boom and zoom. You've got to always remember that in American fighters. So here I went into a chandelle, so a very gentle climbing turn, just to bait him and lose all his speed. So I know he's going to be slow at this point, so I decide to go up and down, go down on him. Kind of like a hammerhead, I guess. Now I do slightly misjudge his energy state. He managed to get his nose up at me there and actually do some severe damage to the engine. But bear in mind that engine was already damaged to start with. So I know I've got to get back to base now. This engine is not going to last long at all. So yeah, it's kind of a mad rush to get back. The other thing is I've got smoke trailing, so everybody's going to know where I am. So yeah, it's not a good idea to stick around like this, especially with a damaged engine. I'll just call out to the team there that there's a Yak 9 and the I-185 left. The I-185 turned out to be an LE7 later on, so I did get that wrong. But anyway. Just checking the scoreboard again to make sure who's alive and what we're dealing with. Again, you can tell who's in the game by the parachute symbol. So if they've got the parachute symbol, it means they're dead or they've left the game completely. So we're coming in here for a landing. Bear in mind we've got the damaged engine, so we're coming in real fast. The ideal landing speed really is about 260 kilometers per hour, and you know we're going a lot quicker than that. So I'm going to have to drain this speed off in a second. So I'm just looking around to make sure nobody is behind me. Not that I can really do much at this point. So this is where I start doing the max pitch, and I just see a bomb as well there, so I know bomber has just passed over. In a way that was a lucky escape, because if I was there like a minute earlier, I would have been dead. So we bled out of speed, we're coming in at a pretty bad angle. I didn't really have time to adjust or come in straight in line with the airfield. We're not making it easy here as well, because now I'm flying over these tents. So I just about managed to get it down. I have to increase the throttle again there for a second, and we touch down, and that's it, we're down. So this plane is pretty easy to land really. I mean, it's got the tri-wheel up front, so it's not going to topple over when you brake like most planes do. There I'm just using the rudder to taxi around on the airfield, so I don't overshoot the runway. So at this point I think we have the P51, P37 and the Spitfire left on our team. So we do have the numbers, but they have the altitude over us. Alright, so take off. Same thing again, I'm going to climb at 240 roughly, or that was the plan. As you'll see in a minute, it doesn't exactly go to plan. So the P47's okay here because he's got the straight line performance. He is a lot quicker than me in a straight line, so he can get away. So I'll go into a gentle, well, a steep climb I guess you could say, 15 degrees there. So I'm just looking around to see who's there. I was actually guessing they was at the base at this point, so I thought we were safe. So if you notice the radar there, the minimap, there's a red dot behind me. It takes me a good few seconds to actually realise. And then I go into like a full panic mode looking for them. And there they are, Dolly. So this is the guy that turns out to be, well, a really good player, so I've got to hand it to him. He put up a good fight here. Caught me by surprise. So in situations like this, all you can really do is either try and get them to overshoot depending on the plane you're in, or turn under them like I do in this case. So I turn under him away from his angle. He can't get any shots and he just carries on flying. So I wasn't deliberately going back into the base here, it just happened that's the direction I was going in. So I see he's going pretty fast here, he's doing roughly the same speed I am, and I know, I played the Yaks enough that I know those things lock up at 500 plus. So I turn into him, I'm fairly confident he couldn't get a shot, but he turns around anyway. Probably because of the AA, I would guess. So he tries for a head on, I'm just going to avoid him again. Didn't really need to do much there, so I just pitched down. Combat flaps out again, this plane doesn't rip until 550 I believe. So you can keep your combat flaps out. I'm just trying to slow him down here because I know those Yaks, they're fast. Especially at this altitude, he's got a massive engine performance advantage. So here I'm just trying to get him to overshoot. Not a lot I could have done really, I'm slow. I'll pull into him here. Get a very lucky shot, I managed to take out his engine. I slightly misjudged his turning radius here because he's got no engine, so he had slowed down so much that he could actually turn right in front of me like that. So he almost got me there. At this point I'm fairly confident he can't do anything because, well, he's got no engine for it. So yeah, he couldn't do much really. So he just crashed there because he had no speed. And the P37 and the Spitfire have got the LA7, so that's pretty much game really. The rest of the game is basically spent chasing down a bomber, P38. I do manage to get a few shots on him, but I don't get the kill, and I'm sure you don't want to see a bomber. You don't want to see me kill a bomber because, you know, there's nothing interesting there really. Everybody knows how to kill bombers. So yeah, I'm just going to skip ahead because it's about another 20 minutes long this. And I'll skip to the end and I'll be back with you in a second. Alright guys, we're back. I decided to show the bomber because I want to show how to attack bombers. Again, I realise PS4 players don't, you know, they're not all clued in about this stuff. So I just wanted to show the angle of attack that I'm coming at. So look at my speed, I'm going really fast. I'm coming in at an angle, so I'm not coming in at 12 o'clock or at 6 o'clock behind his guns. Yeah, I'm coming in at a very difficult angle where he can't get his gunners on me. So I don't get a great shot on him, but I do get some hits. Yeah, that is the way to attack bombers. Again, I'm coming in at an angle. get hits, but for some reason they spark. And I just fly under him here, try and get out of the angle of these gunners. And the other guy gets the kill, and that's game. I'll just get some cheeky hits in there. I was hoping for some extra points, but no luck. I have heard apparently if you shoot a burning wreck or somebody that's just died, you get the assist. But yeah, I've not had any luck myself. Don't know about you guys. Anyway. So that was game. We got 3 air targets. All 3 of them were fighters, so I'm quite happy with that. We also wind up getting Terror of the Sky, so we get some decent points, some lions and research points. So that was not an all too bad game really. That's the P38 guys, really enjoyable playing.